Welcome to Beyond the Balance Sheet, the podcast that helps advisors, clinical professionals, and affluent families understand the complexities of issues related to our mental, physical, and emotional well-being. Our co-hosts, Arden O'Connor and Diana Clark, will interview a series of guests on a range of topics, providing informative content and practical tools for professionals and families to consider. Here are your hosts, Arden and Diana.
Hi, this is Diana Clark with A Bit to Consider, a miniature piece of our podcast, Beyond the Balance Sheet. I am here with my co-host, Arden O'Connor.
Hi, everyone.
And I am going to ask Arden some questions about post-New Year resolutions and goals regarding self-care in the middle of a pandemic. What are your plans?
I'm smiling as you ask that question. I love the theme of self-care, and I find it can add as much stress as any other to-do list. And when I say that, as a typical type A overachiever, I like to have long lists of things to do. I like to feel productive. And what I've learned in the last couple of months is that self-care is supposed to have the opposite impact. It's supposed to make me feel nurtured. I'm supposed to walk away refreshed, not stressed out that I haven't done my meditation for the day, as I hear it in my head. So one of my goals come 2021 is to start thinking about self-care in smaller bits, to not make it a laundry list of big activities, but to say, what is one thing I'm doing right now that isn't as healthy? So I can give you a very specific example. I eat chocolate at the end of every day. I love it. So could I cut back to a few days a week, and can I replace that with something that is healthier? I actually enjoy herbal tea, so can I switch that craving over time? Another example is giving up my Facebook app on my phone to make room for 15 minutes of meditation. And I can tell you, I'm actually proud. Even though it is a resolution for 2021, I've started on this path now. I signed up for this very rigorous, intensive nutrition focused class, and I got about 12 minutes into the curriculum and just said, there is no way I'm doing this. It's too intense. I don't want to track things like this. And I canceled it, which for me is a moment of self-care when I realized I actually can say no to something and move on.
Excellent. Excellent. So I think we all need to heed, not heap, the resolution. So for those of us who are really good about saying, this year I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and A, B, C, to try and limit it. It's a tough time of year, and it is a tough year.
I completely agree with that. I completely agree and think that a moment of self-care is also, looking at the thing that's going to soothe me now and making time for it. I think as much as self-care can be doing something, it can also be saying no to something. So whether it's the nutritional course I recognized or I referenced, or if it's saying no to the family Zoom call. I think it's important to stay connected with family and friends, but we're hearing more and more people saying, I'm on Zoom all day, and then my friends want to Zoom at night. So just really taking stock of your own emotional energy at the end of the day and making sure you're prioritizing. And as Brene Brown always mentions, having some degree of personal boundaries. I always remember her words of saying no is it's important to go through activities and engage in things not with a mindset of being resentful that you had to say yes. So I try to remember that right before I say yes to anything, I think, am I really going to enjoy doing this? Or when I go to log in, am I going to think, why did I say yes? And if the answer is the latter, I say no right then and there.
So I love that statement. No is a complete sentence. So even when those questions are not coming from inside our own head, but from the external world as well. So thank you all for joining us for A Bit to Consider. This is Diana Clark.
And Arden O'Connor. Thanks for joining. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Beyond the Balance Sheet, a podcast designed to help advisors, clinical professionals, and affluent families solve some of their biggest medical, psychiatric, and emotional challenges. Visit beyondthebalancesheet.com to read more about our guests and resources, and sign up for our newsletter.